Hi everybody, welcome to Child Development 180, week 6 and 7. I want to point out that the content for week 6 and 7 are split, essentially the same content. You'll learn more, of course, as you go, but because it's so much that we're covering, I split it into 2 weeks. So this voiceover will cover both week 6 and 7. It will be identical. I will post it in each of the different modules, but it's going to be the same content, so just an FYI. All right, with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, here. Just move this up a little. All right, so we're focusing in on psychosocial development theories. So likely you've heard of Freud and Erikson. Whether or not you agree with these theories or the content in the theories is really up to you. I know some people have take some issue with both of these, particularly Freud, and that's okay. You don't necessarily need to agree with every theory. I know I certainly have a belief system that sort of takes just bits and pieces from each theory and puts them together myself. So that's what I personally do. I would say probably the majority of colleagues I've worked with over the years kind of have the same approach. So take it for what it is, and if you don't necessarily agree, that's okay, but we'll cover them anyway. All right, so here's some elements of Freud's theory. It's a 5-stage theory, and it covers birth through adolescence. And each stage presents a conflict that the child must resolve. The unconscious drives affect behavior, and attachment and gender identity are important in this stage. So here's the stages. I won't list them out to you here because you can all see them and read through them. Again, don't forget the entire lecture is also posted in the different units or tabs, so you can go through them at your own pace later. All right, let me get this down a little bit more. Give me one more second. All right, so here's Erikson's theory. It's an 8-stage theory, so a little bit different than Freud's, and it covers the entire lifespan, so a little bit different than we just saw with Freud. Each stage is characterized by a developmental crisis. Emphasis is on one's relationship to social environment, so the social environment is really key in Erikson's theory. And it's a contemporary theory. It's definitely more widely accepted than Freud's, as you can imagine. Yet, of course, we each kind of have our own belief system. We all have our own experiences and expertise, and so we may not fully take one theory and believe each element is the way it should be or the way it actually works with children, but nonetheless we can pull what makes sense. So when you have some more time, you'll want to read through some of these key items in Erikson's theory, particularly trust versus mistrust, autonomy versus shame and doubt, etc. Hint, hint, these will be integrated into your quiz. So don't worry about excuse me, memorizing them too much, but you definitely want to read through them, and of course during your quiz you can refer back to them. So thinking about social competence, it's really important that we help children develop this. During the school age, making and keeping friends are extremely important. So we talked a little bit a few weeks ago about how important friendships and acceptance by peers is for children. So we also need to do our work in supporting the friendships, not only just making friends, but keeping them for school age children. So obviously with this comes social skills, and teaching these to children. We definitely see more of this in curriculum in schools, but we also, over the years, I would say I'm seeing more and more of this in child care programs, so like after school programs, more into camps, and similar settings. It's a great way for us to use these social skills and teach them to children, because it really will help support their friendship building and keeping up friends. So here's some ways that you can help children in supporting friendships. So identify children's social strengths and weaknesses. Obviously this needs to be done in a kind and caring way. So we don't want to put the children in a line and say, oh, you're really good at this and you're really bad at this. Definitely not. So we want to do things really naturally with children, and we want to be kind and caring and gentle in our words and how we approach children. But if you see maybe an area of challenge for a child, you can always work with that child, and you can do it in a way that doesn't make them feel bad or like they're not good enough. And we definitely want to coach children in effective ways of behaving towards friends. Again, doing this in a supportive way. But if we're, let's say, in an after-school program and we see that sometimes if a child maybe is a little tired or irritated and they lash out at their friends, we can kind of use those experiences to talk with the child and really coach them into some better ways of handling it. We want to praise children for successful interactions. Obviously, you need to do this as appropriate. We don't want to just choose certain children that we see and only comment on that. But if you can kind of find a positive kind of gotcha for every child, that would be fantastic. Of course, that doesn't need to be done every day, but kind of how it naturally or organically happens. So not only do we need to teach pro-social skills, but we need to model good social skills. So obviously you know that children watch your moves. They watch not only what comes out of your mouth, but they will look at your body language. If you roll your eyes at a coworker or colleague, they will pick it up even when you think they're not watching. They are. So model those good social skills. Take some time to discuss characteristics that foster friendships in children. So while you have time and as it's appropriate, take some time to sit down with the children and discuss the meaning of respect, the importance of friendships, good social skills, etc. And you can really use different activities and games, role playing, etc. to kind of help with these social skills. So there's lots of fun ways you can do it. It doesn't have to be a boring sit down, I'm going to tell you how to be and you're going to do it, but you can really have some fun with it. Obviously with children and school-age children particularly, self-esteem is something that we want to help boost. So make sure that you have a genuine interest in each child. And I know that gets tough sometimes when we have certain children that gravitate towards us a little bit more, or maybe we have a few children that need a little more support, and so we find ourselves spending a lot more time or attention with those children. But I want to encourage you to kind of look around and make sure that you're supporting all the children that you work with. If there's a child or a couple children that maybe you don't spend much time with, maybe you can do something in the schedule, or kind of just switch with a coworker and get some time to spend with those children, because that really will help boost their self-esteem. So make sure that you're supporting self-esteem through meaningful activities. So you can have group meetings or group role plays, all kinds of fun ways that you can do this. And then make sure that you're just providing ways for children to feel successful. Sometimes children may get in trouble or feel like they're always getting yelled at or snipped at and whatnot. So we want to avoid that as much as possible. Of course, if a child's not doing what they need to do, or if they're doing something that's unsafe, we need to usually stop it in its tracks. But there are times that we can praise the children and provide opportunities so that they can feel successful. So acknowledge their feelings. Take some time to describe situations to them. So if you're trying to coach a child on something, give them the foundation, give them the scenario, give them kind of what you're seeing, not just, hey, don't talk to your friend like that, or next time don't do that. Really take some time to spend talking through things. Let them ask questions. You can kind of do a fun role play, whatever seems appropriate for that child in that situation at the time. And then help them recognize how their behavior affects others. So obviously, as we've gotten older, we kind of realize the importance of this. And so we want to help children as they're growing, especially school-age children, to recognize how their behavior affects others, not just adults, but also their peers. So it's a valuable life skill that we want to encourage. So with that, we'll wrap up here. Again, don't forget this entire PowerPoint without my voiceover is in the week 6 and 7 module or unit in the course, so you can take some time to think through these ideas, create some applications or some alignment with theory, and also kind of your own experience and expertise. So as always, if you need anything, feel free to reach out to me via email. Thanks, everybody.